Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's Giovanna and Vita, and we are here in one of my cow pastures. And I stopped in today because I wanted to, I think I've made it pretty clear that I started Lipstick Cowgirl, this YouTube channel, over a year ago to let you guys know what I do and what most U.S. ranchers, farmers do to keep their herd healthy, to keep them well fed, the expenses that we have, the labor that we put into it, just the passion that we have behind what we do. And my hope was to create an awareness that you would know how important U.S. beef is. However, at this point, my efforts are for naught, because in this country, in the United States, it is not a law that beef has to be labeled where it originates. Now, most of any of the produce, chicken, most all of any kind of fresh product needs to be labeled. Beef is not one. And so what we have in committee right now in the U.S. Senate is a bill proposed for country of origin labeling. We're not going to stop importing beef. I mean, we get beef from 26 other countries. We're not trying to stop the import. What we're trying to do is to give you, the consumer, the power to know where your beef comes from. Right now, it can be done voluntarily, but it is not mandatory. And right now, a lot of what's being done voluntarily is product of the USA. Now, understand that every piece of meat that is sold is inspected by the USDA. That does not mean it is U.S. beef. There is nothing about that means it's U.S. beef. It means it was inspected on U.S. soil. That's all that means. What we are hoping for is a law that requires packers to label the beef born, raised, and harvested in the USA if it is so. And that gives you, the consumer, the power to know where your beef is coming from. To know that all of my efforts, everything that I do out here, all the care that I take, all the making sure that my animals are well fed and well cared for and healthy, that all that meat that is good, you have then the power to purchase that, which you do not right now. It can be done voluntarily, but it is not a law. And so what we are hoping for is that this bill will be signed into law, but it cannot be done so without people like you calling or writing your congressman or senator at this point, because it's in the Senate, U.S. senator, and letting them know that this is important. This is what we're talking about. This is all the information that you will need to know. You can, there's a phone number there if you want to call and ask your senator. That's the bill that we're talking about. Or if you want more information, there is labelrbeef.com, where you can go and get more information about this bill and how important it is. You see, this is, to me, why it's important that we label our beef. If you can see that huge spike right there, that is the time in 2014 to 18, 14 to 16 actually, when it was mandatory that we had country of origin labeling. We did have it for a short time. The red line is what our beef prices are doing. That blue that's behind it is what you're paying in the grocery store. What I think it's important that you understand is that what you pay in the grocery store is not directly reflected in what I get paid at the market. And you can see how that red line has dropped and has dropped. And of course, markets fluctuate up and down. But you can see how it has changed so much since that mandatory country of origin labeling that we had at one time in our history. So as you can see, that what happens at our cattle market is not directly influenced by what you pay at the grocery store. And so we are one of the few markets that is completely separate from the supply and demand chain at our level, at our production level. We do not see that. And especially because at this point, they can label any meat from any country as product of the USA because it's been packaged in the USA. And so they're getting credit for all of my hard work. People in Brazil and Uruguay and there's 27 other countries that are getting credit for my hard work. And so what we would like to do is to make it legal for them to put born, raised, and harvested in the USA on product that is in fact born, raised, and harvested in the USA, that I have worked hard for, that other farmers have worked hard for, that we put extra money and extra care into what we are doing. And so I just wanted to take a little bit of time and stress the importance of what's going on in our industry right now and how that affects you as consumers. I'm affected as a consumer, but I have the power that I harvest my own animals, and I'm in an area that there's a lot of cattle producers that sell their cattle as beef, and so I'm but I take care of my animals because I'm going to eat one, and because it's important to me to produce a healthy, yummy product. And so I hope that you guys understand how important this is, not just to me, but to other beef producers. There are many of us that won't be here much longer. As you saw from that red line, we are not making enough money right now to pay for the $1,400 mama that we buy and the $14,000 in hay that we put into them every year and the $12,000 in liquid feed we put into them every year. And I could go on and on. $7,000-8,000 in mineral. I mean, to say nothing of what we pay in property tax in my time and vehicles and feed. That, I mean, it's astronomical. And our prices, what we get when we go to our local markets, does not reflect what you pay in the grocery store, because the beef packers have a monopoly on what's being done, and they're unfairly labeling them. So this is your chance to be powerful and to do something that will affect you and your children and everyone in the community, because it's important that we have safe, healthy food and we have power over our food. Importing it, there's a lot of trouble with imports right now. Importing, we don't know what's happening. But if our beef is produced locally and labeled locally, then we all have more power and more control over our lives. So I want to thank you so much for watching my videos and caring about my cows, caring about what I do, caring about everything that's so important to us out here in the country. And just know that if you are on this planet right now, that God has a plan for you, and it is good. It's not going to be easy, but it is going to be good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. May God bless you and keep you. Know that Jesus loves you. And please show mercy to each other.